What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. In this video today, we are going to be talking about if this person that posted about this should have bought this book or not. We're going to go based on the price. There's always other things that you want to consider, that kind of thing. But I just thought this one was interesting because of a couple of reasons. One, it's Hulk 340. It is one of the most iconic covers of the Copper Age, one of the most iconic covers done by Todd McFarlane. Maybe the only one you'd call more well-known is Amazing Spider-Man 300. I mean, of everything done by Todd McFarlane, this is probably number two. And so a lot of people probably like this one more than Amazing Spider-Man 300. It is an awesome cover. Hulk versus Wolverine, the reflection in the claws, all that kind of stuff. So this person posted, came across this in the wild today, $85 Canadian, spine ticks, bunged up corner, didn't bite, thoughts. So the first joke in my head was, man, 85 Canadian, it's like basically free. So, like, of course you're going to buy this book. But I didn't know the exchange rate off the top of my head. So I plugged it into Google, and here we go. 85 Canadian is just under $60 US today. So to put that in perspective for, all the pricing that we're going to talk about. The other thing is, let's assume that this was in, at a show or at a store or wherever, you can probably make an offer. It's like if it's at 85, you say like, hey, I'll give you 70 and see what they say. I mean, what is 70 Canadian? Under $50. So let's say, like, worst case, you're paying full price. You get it for, 60, and best case, maybe you get it for 50 or less. And so now let's start going through the process here, because I thought it was interesting because at $50, I wouldn't even think twice. I would buy this book all day, every day at $50, even if it's wrecked. And this one isn't wrecked. Like, we can look at this book right here. It's actually pretty nice. You can tell it's got some spine ticks. It's got this little chip out of the corner here, but this book would probably, assuming there's nothing crazy on the back, probably still grade like a 6 or a 5.5. I think people maybe overestimate how much that little chip is going to do to the grade, but would probably still grade like probably a 5.5, maybe even like a 6. Like, it's a nice mid-grade copy. Colors look great, and it's a newsstand. This is 1988. Newsstands are a little less common by this point. So newsstand, decent looking copy, solid colors, everything. But when you go into the comments, I mean, to me, it's actually pretty hilarious. And we'll talk about it when we actually get into the pricing for this book. And the other reason I was thinking about this book is that this one gets talked about all the time on like Comic Tom as well. Like, this is generally one of the hot books that's selling each week. People just love to buy this book, and it isn't cheap. So you go to the comments here. First one, best raw price I've seen. You missed the boat on that one. I totally agree. But you can see, like, people have got that little laughing emojis, like they disagree. Like, this person knows exactly what they're talking about. And then it says, off that chip corner, hard pass, I'd pass. I would have picked it up if it was 35 to 40, but 85 is a huge upsell. It's beat, good skip, good call, too many dings for 85. Definitely a pass. I doubt I'd pay 20. Pass, no way. Can't see me paying that price for this book in that condition. 20, 40. I mean, it's just over and over. Like, good call, not for $85. Try eBay or Mercari. Just bought one for 25, 30 a few months ago. We'll talk about that. And so I get it for half that price. It's just over and over again. But I think 85 Canadian is like 247 Eagle bucks. I think they got that flipped there. It's supposed to be the other way around. But you keep going and slap 220s on the counter and say that's the best you'll do. Like, I mean, everybody in here is like $20 to $40. This person said that's 60 US dollars. I'd say that's about right for a newsstand with the corner damage. It would be 100 on eBay. So on and so on and so on. So basically, the people in this comment section think that what is a pretty solid mid-grade newsstand copy should be, some people said they wouldn't pay 20, but like $20 to $40 outside of this top comment here. This is the person I agree with. This one that just has 3 little marks next to it, with some people laughing at them, it seems, but I absolutely agree with that person. I would have bought this book in a second. Let's talk about why, though. So first things first, let's jump over to eBay, because eBay is going to give you the best real pricing for this book. This book sells all the time. And so if we go over to eBay, you can see here, I've already built out a search to try to get this as refined as possible for what the sales are for this book. So I've got Hulk number 340, 1988, and then you put this little minus sign, and then you put the words that you don't want to appear. And so I put in a bunch of words that eliminated a lot of false positives that were showing up in here, because there's all kinds of homages and reprints and all this other kind of stuff with this book. I also pulled out a Mark Jewelers that had sold, just because that's going to be an abnormally high sale. There was like a poster. There was one signed one by Stan Lee. So I was just trying to get it where this is just the pretty standard books that are not graded in what they sell for. And then the other thing I did this because it's a little easier to visualize it. And this is for the last 90 days. You can see it pulled in 125 different sales. So this book sells on eBay raw about 40 times a month. Let's scroll down here. How many sold below $20? I'll tell you the answer. The answer is zero. Zero copies sold below $20. Now, how many sold below 40? At least here, and we'll get into a little more detail in another spot later. One sold below 40. Now we're at 50. Now we're at 60. So this book that you probably could have bought for $50, and you didn't have to pay for shipping. So you probably could have bought for $50. You had 2 chances in the last 3 months out of 125 sales to get it for below that price. At $50, you had 4 chances. So like 3%, and these ones, you can tell like they're best offers. These ones aren't auctions. They got snagged up quick. I can guarantee you these books sold almost immediately. Unless you were sitting there hitting refresh on your listings on eBay, you missed this. So then let's keep going up here. Now it's at 60, 67, 65, 69, 75, 81, 99. We are already up around the $100 mark. And we're only maybe 12 to 15 in. So you can only get this book under $100, maybe 10% of the time, if you're lucky. And you got to be watching all the time to get these. And so then we're at 100, and we keep going, 115, 125, 130, 140. And keep going up, 150. This is not a cheap book. Here's one from my comic shop. They graded it an FN minus, a 5.5. What I approximately estimate that book at, $155 for my comic shop. So, here's another one, a 2.5 for my comic shop for 160. Someone paid a lot for that one. but still, like that's what I'm talking about here. Like that book at $50 US, because these are in US, that was an absolute steal that you will come across almost never when you're trying to buy these on the open market like this. Now, the other thing, and I showed this in a recent video as well, there's this product research tool. And I did this because this is going to give us the actual sold prices. That's one of the things that eBay has changed recently. You notice how none of these have strike throughs? There's no strike throughs on any of these. And it's because eBay does not show if something was an offer anymore. They just show you the full ask price. And so that can definitely throw you off. You don't actually know what it sold for if there was an offer, unless you go look at the product research tool. This is if you go to your seller hub, you go under research. Like I said, I showed this in another one. I pasted the same search in here, doing the last 90 days, and you see the price range. And here we've got the low end at 25, the high end at 330. The average, if you add them all together and divide by, in this case, it found 121 sales. You can see over here on the right, 121 sales. Divide by 121, you get $162. The average sold price for a raw copy of this book. And the average shipping, $8. So your average is 170. And so now let's go down here, and you're going to see there's a few more where somebody probably made an offer. And so we can see you had a couple more chances to get it below 40, but still 0 opportunities below 20. So we had 25 plus $4 shipping, 25 plus $4 shipping, 35 plus $6, 45 plus $4.62, and now you are above 50. So again, you only had 2 opportunities below 40, because we're talking about shipping. This person wouldn't have had to pay shipping if they bought it in that shop. So you only had 2 opportunities out of 121 below 40, 0 below 20, and now you only had let's see, 4 opportunities below 50 at what that you probably could have gotten that book for. So out of 121, 4 opportunities below 50 in the last 3 months. And this book sells all the time. So I guess my point is here is that I think some people have some pretty unrealistic expectations about what some of these books sell for. There is huge demand for this book. And you can see that in the sold prices here. I mean, let's take a look at some of these books that sold. Like this one here, this auction. This was an auction that sold for $55. Let's look at this one. This book is wrecked compared to that other copy. I mean, look at this thing. It is just in beat shape, like big piece out of the corner down here, tons of creasing, newsstand copy, big piece out of the corner up there, or tear out of the corner up there. I mean, this copy is in really rough shape. Look at the back cover, really rough shape. It sold for 51 plus shipping, so 55 plus probably some tax on top of it, probably $60. I mean, that's really like the bare minimum price for this book, unless you are super, super lucky and catch one of these early ones listed at a fixed price value and you're just able to grab it. And so just want to point that out, like I know people like this is where, you see people's comments on things and like what they would pay and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you're just never going to get that book then. I mean, yeah, maybe you come across it at a con and you get it for cheaper, but I feel like that's even less likely. I feel like at a con that, that dealer is going to know what they have and they are going to have that book marked up. And so I think your absolute best chance to get it for really cheap is somebody who probably misprices the book like this at the bottom here, $29.99. Like that's like, just call it like a mispriced book because this one isn't even in rough shape. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's got, it's like the newsstand, it's got some spine ticks and stuff, but overall, pretty nice looking book. Back cover, relatively nice looking book. It has a spine roll. I think they commented on that. There's like some type of spine roll with the book, but overall, a great looking book. Was listed at $29.99. And I guarantee you that book sold in under a minute. And so I just thought that this one was really interesting just because of the perceived expectations in the comments versus the reality for this book. And maybe there was some misunderstanding that, they didn't understand that, it's 85 Canadian and that's actually more like 60. And then the reality you could offer and maybe get 75. And so 85 seems a little high, but even 85 US wouldn't have been a bad price to pick this book up because like I said, it does look like it is in pretty respectable condition. So yes, I am completely in agreement with this guy up here, best raw price I've seen. You missed the boat on that one. I think he is absolutely correct. And that you should have picked this book up. One of the coolest covers of the Copper Age, if not, I don't know. Is it the coolest cover of the Copper Age? It might be. And, by an iconic artist, everybody seems to, really be a big fan for the most part of Todd McFarlane. He seems like a pretty good guy. And yeah, that's just what this book goes for now. It's kind of funny. I often see people like quote prices from like, I picked up this book for $4 in 1991, or something like that. It's like, yeah, it was 34 years ago. It's like prices have changed a little bit since then. And this book is a lot more expensive now. So hopefully, just a little aside on something that I thought was interesting that I saw help you with your research. If you're out there, looking up prices on things, like this is one of the ways that you can do it. And I do really recommend using this, this pricing tool that's in, or this research tool that's in eBay. It is very, very helpful. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.